Galba, the sixth emperor of the Roman Empire, had a brief and tumultuous reign lasting only from June 68 AD to January 69 AD. His rise to power marked the beginning of a year of political instability, known as the Year of the Four Emperors, a period characterized by civil war, intrigue, and rapid turnover of emperors. Galba's reign was marked by his strict approach to governance, his attempts to restore discipline within the Roman Empire, and his eventual downfall due to a combination of political missteps, military dissatisfaction, and a lack of popular support. Galba was born in 3 BC in the region of Hispania, modern-day Spain. He hailed from a distinguished Roman family, the Servii, and was well connected within the imperial elite. His early career was marked by military service and administrative positions in various parts of the empire. Galba's reputation grew during his time as a governor in Hispania Tarraconensis, where he commanded a legion and distinguished himself for his discipline and leadership. His effective governance in Hispania earned him the respect of his soldiers and paved the way for his future ambitions. As a young man, Galba was not particularly associated with any imperial ambitions. He had served under the Emperor Tiberius and later under the Emperor Caligula, and was even appointed as a consul in 33 AD. However, he had a tense relationship with the imperial court, especially under Caligula and Nero. During the reign of Nero, Galba's political fortunes fluctuated. He was seen as a possible candidate for leadership during the imperial crises that marked the end of Nero's rule. Galba's rise to power began with the growing discontent against Emperor Nero, whose rule had become increasingly tyrannical and corrupt. Nero's extravagant lifestyle, extravagant building projects, and harsh treatment of the Senate and elite had alienated many factions within Roman society, including the military. By 68 AD, his popularity had plummeted, and his rule faced open opposition from various corners of the empire. In Hispania, Galba was declared emperor by his troops in the spring of 68 AD, after Nero's rule had come under serious strain. Galba's military command and position in Hispania allowed him to seize the moment. He was seen as a figure who could potentially restore order and discipline to the empire, which had suffered under Nero's erratic governance. Galba's rebellion against Nero gained momentum as his army marched toward Rome. Nero, increasingly isolated and unable to command loyalty from the military, ultimately committed suicide in June 68 AD, leaving the imperial throne vacant. Galba, who had been proclaimed emperor by his troops, entered Rome in June 68 AD. He was hailed as the new emperor, and his arrival in the capital marked the beginning of a new era for the Roman Empire. Galba's reign began with a firm commitment to restore discipline and order to the empire. He sought to address some of the corruption and excesses of Nero's rule and implemented various administrative and financial reforms. One of his earliest actions was to execute the most notorious members of Nero's regime, including the freedmen who had gained significant power under the former emperor. This was seen as a necessary purge to rid the empire of corrupt elements, but it also created many enemies. Galba also sought to reform the military, aiming to reduce the influence of the Praetorian Guard, which had been a powerful political force under previous emperors. He took measures to curb their power, which was unpopular with the Guard. Additionally, Galba's strict policies regarding the allocation of rewards and donatives, payments made to soldiers and citizens, caused further dissatisfaction, particularly among the legions. His refusal to offer generous donatives to the troops, which was customary during a change in emperors, angered many soldiers. While Galba made some significant reforms, his reign was marked by poor political judgment. His attempts to consolidate power alienated both the Senate and the military. His unpopularity was exacerbated by his failure to gain the support of important factions within Roman society. Moreover, Galba's rule was short on charismatic leadership and political skill, and he struggled to maintain the loyalty of both the Senate and the military. Galba's reign was ultimately short-lived due to the series of challenges he faced. In the context of the Year of the Four Emperors, the power struggle within Rome intensified as various military leaders and factions vied for control of the empire. In January 69 AD, Galba made a fatal mistake when he adopted Lucius Calpurnius Piso Licinianus as his successor. Piso, a senator and a member of the Roman elite, was not well received by the army, particularly by the Praetorian Guard, which was highly influential in determining the legitimacy of an emperor. The decision to adopt Piso alienated Otho, one of Galba's former supporters and a prominent figure within the military. Otho, who had been counting on being named as the next emperor, felt betrayed and began to plot against Galba. Otho's conspiracy came to fruition when he bribed the Praetorian Guard, and on January 15, 69 AD, Galba was assassinated in a coup. His death was swift and brutal. He was killed in the streets of Rome by members of the Guard, and his body was thrown into the Tiber River. Galba's reign, which had been marked by attempts to restore order, ended in chaos and violence. His assassination paved the way for Otho to seize the imperial throne. Galba's legacy is largely one of failure, largely due to his inability to maintain the loyalty of both the Senate and the military. His reign, while characterized by attempts at reform and a commitment to restoring order, ultimately collapsed because of his poor handling of the key elements of Roman governance, the army and the elite. Despite his short reign, Galba's rise to power and subsequent fall marked an important moment in the history of the Roman Empire. It highlighted the fragility of imperial power and the critical importance of military loyalty. His assassination was part of the broader turmoil that defined the Year of the Four Emperors, a year that saw the Roman Empire in a state of political disarray. While Galba was not able to restore stability or create a lasting legacy, his rule demonstrated the challenges faced by emperors in times of crisis. In the broader historical context, Galba is remembered as one of the emperors whose reign contributed to the fragmentation and instability that defined the later stages of the Julio-Claudian dynasty. Though his reign was brief and marked by failure, it was also a precursor to the eventual rise of Vespasian, who would emerge victorious from the chaos of the Year of the Four Emperors and establish the Flavian dynasty. Vespasian's reign would bring a more stable and prosperous period to the Roman Empire, but Galba's role in the events of 69 AD should not be overlooked in understanding the political dynamics of the time. In summary, Galba was a capable and experienced leader who, through his military career and political ambitions, ascended to the throne following Nero's death. However, his failure to navigate the political and military complexities of imperial Rome led to his swift downfall. His reign was marked by reforms and attempts at restoring discipline, but these efforts were overshadowed by the discontent of the military and the elite, culminating in his assassination and the subsequent chaos of the Year of the Four Emperors. Despite his brief time in power, Galba's reign played a significant role in the broader narrative of Roman imperial history.